Hey friends, Dave here with Transfer Express, and today we're going to be covering some basics if you are just getting started printing t-shirts. So we're going to be printing our t-shirts using a heat press and our screen printed transfers today, but a lot of the principles that we're going to talk about will still apply to almost any way you're going to be decorating a t-shirt, be it using heat transfer vinyl, screen printing, or even sublimation. Now we've got a lot to cover, but I'm going to try to get you printing like a pro in no time, so let's get right to it. If you are new to Transfer Express, we are the world's largest supplier of custom screen printed and digital heat transfers, heat presses, free customizable designs, wholesale apparel, and expert advice to help grow your t-shirt business. If you haven't already, subscribe. We're kicking out new videos like this one every single week. Printing t-shirts with a heat press is the fastest and easiest way to do it. I've been printing t-shirts for well over a decade now, and pretty much any way you could put ink to fabric, I've been there and I've done it. From manual screen printing and pulling squeegees to sublimation and even directed garment, even cutting heat transfer vinyl, and yes, my favorite that we'll do today, screen printed heat transfers with that plastisol ink. But there's some common tips that I want to tell you about so you could reduce your frustration with the learning curve and jump out of the gate printing t-shirts like a pro. Now starting off, the first tip is going to follow the application instructions. Regardless of your print method, if you don't follow the instructions for curing or applying your inks, you're gonna have a bad time. All of the transfers here at Transfer Express come with a nice little sheet that lets you know what settings to set your heat press at, but you could still find them all online. In fact, we've got an entire playlist of all of our application instructions for our 16 different transfer types that we'll link right here and down in the description below. Now, not all heat transfers are created equal, and there's 3 elements that really matter when you're heat applying anything. That's time, temperature, and pressure. Use the settings that are designated for the transfer type that you're using. We've got our goof-proof screen printed plastisol ink transfers here with us today that we're going to apply. And looking here at the instruction sheet, we have 2 separate settings for our heat press. Since we've got a 100% cotton shirt that we're going to be decorating today, we will use the 100% cotton instructions. So we're going to set our press to 365 degrees for 4 to 6 seconds, a medium to firm pressure, and of course we can always adjust that using the knob right here on the top of the heat press. Now some heat presses do have a digital pressure readout. This craft press that we're going to be using today is our most beginner-friendly press with its incredibly affordable price, but it does not have that higher-end functionality. So what I like to do is just crank the pressure down pretty much until the press won't close, and then back it off until it will. That's the easiest way to see where your firm pressure is. Of course, we always have the trusty paper test, which we've used in the past to gauge the pressure of your press if it doesn't have a digital pressure readout. But you can see those videos linked right here and in the description below. So you can see how important the settings are here. Say after we're done printing our screen printed heat transfers today, we would move over and print some heat transfer vinyl, where 365 degrees would most likely over apply the transfer, burning off the adhesive instead of properly melting it into the fibers of the t-shirt. So it's important and always follow those instructions. Now the next step is loading our shirt onto the heat press. It makes everything easier with your print placement to align the shirt on the heat press consistently. My favorite way is opening the shirt like a pillowcase and threading it onto the lower platen of the heat press. However, many heat presses don't have this capability, so I want to show you what it looks like to just lay over the lower platen of your heat press. First, we're going to want to make sure that we're grabbing the seams on the top shoulder here in the same spot on each side, just to ensure the garment is not twisted or skewed when we are laying it down, because then our graphic is going to be twisted or skewed in placement on the shirt. Now, t-shirts aren't like a piece of paper. They are meant to be fit around our bodies, so they can be a little tricky to get squared up at first. But don't worry, you're gonna get the hang of handling blank t-shirts in no time if you're just getting started. Now the trick is to try and trace the seams around the platen and ensure they're equal on all sides. So on the right-hand side, you wanna make sure the distance to that side seam or the fold is about the same exact distance that you have on the right-hand side. Don't just go off the shoulder seams and how far they are away from the platen, because garment fabric can twist easily. So check down the sides to ensure that the whole body is straight on the press. Also, try to keep the fabric gently laid over top. Any twisting or pulling of the fabric will rebound when you take it off of the press after printing, leading to a warped or skewed print. We don't want that. One of the most important things to keep in mind is giving yourself a nice smooth, flat, even surface for printing. That's going to help you achieve a nice, smooth, and even pressure across the entire surface area of your press, leading to perfectly applied transfers every single time. So be sure you keep all collars, wrinkles, and seams off of the printing area. We'll always pre-press our garment before printing to remove moisture and wrinkles, and this is a great opportunity to see if the press is closing properly or if your pressure needs adjusted. When you close the press, it will also highlight any wrinkles in your t-shirt that should be smoothed out before printing, especially those pesky hidden wrinkles, maybe on the back side of the t-shirt like we've got right here. After we moved all collars and seams off of that lower platen of your heat press, let's pre-press the garment. Now, one of the most overlooked steps with heat printing is always the pre-press. I'm guilty of it sometimes too. T-shirts soak up moisture from the air like a sponge, leading to evaporation when you hit it with the heat from your heat press. When you have moisture in the form of steam pushing upwards, the transfer you're trying to push down is going to have a bad time adhering to the fibers in the shirt. And while it might look like it applied okay, it's most likely going to crack or peel after it runs through the washer a couple times. So you don't want that to happen. Always pre-press for the absolute best prints. Now that we're loaded in pre-press, let's grab our transfers, and here is one design that I already removed from our gang sheet. Now, gang sheets are just the industry nickname for these transfer sheets that have multiple pieces of artwork grouped together on them. Now, they're great with transfers because you commonly only pay for the sheet. So you're paying for the entire sheet, not the amount of inks that you use. So the more that you could fit on one page, the more profit you could pack into one sheet and maximize your print cost. Now, some transfers come on a clear plastic carrier, while some come on paper carriers. The plastic ones are great because you can see the exact placement, but here on these screen printed transfers, they have to be paper. But you can still align them perfectly. Now, before we head back to the press, let's hold it up to the light and fold each edge of the ink to each other. That way, regardless of the amount of paper on each side of the design, we'll know where the actual center of the artwork is. Now, once you line up each edge of ink, we'll gently crease the top and bottom of the release carrier, and just as you could see, a little pinch allows us to create this great centerline guide for us. Now, all we have to do is eyeball it up to the collar and center it on our t-shirt right here. For different placements, we put a whole video together right here talking about placement and positioning that really helps dive into standard and additional locations. But for today, we're just going to be doing a standard center chest. For most sizes of t-shirts, you're most likely going to be between 1.5 to 3 inches down from the collar to start your print. Now, we have a couple ways to do it. My favorite, the 3-finger rule. Simply by taking 3 of my fingers and aligning the graphic exactly 3 fingers down from the bottom of the collar seam. You could also use one of these super handy t-shirt guides and these rulers, which, hey, look at that, is just about 3 fingers down from the collar. Same distance as my 3-finger rule and my fingers. Now, be sure you know exactly where the graphic starts on the carrier and not just the paper liner. So if you have to peek, just peek around as needed, because we definitely want to be aligning to the top of our graphic, not the top of our paper, which is going to add another 1/2 inch to 1 inch down on there. Then we just press and peel. Now, the peel is important too because different transfer types have different peels: hot, warm, and cold peels. These goof-proof transfers we use today are a hot peel, so will peel immediately when the press opens. Warm peel will be waiting 3 to 5 seconds after opening the press to peel, and cold peel means room temperature, commonly 3 to 5 minutes after pressing. If your transfer is a cold peel, remove the shirt from the press to cool completely. Sitting here under the heating element is going to keep it warm. Now, we did just release this super helpful troubleshooting tips video right here, and we'll link it down in the description below too if you're having any application troubles whatsoever. Of course, here at Transfer Express, we're always happy to help, so just give us a call, email, chat, or submit a resolution in your order dashboard for immediate assistance with your transfers. We are dedicated to helping you and your t-shirt business succeed with tons of inspirational ideas, marketing tips, tricks, heat transfer application education, and oh so much more. Be sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel to stay up to date on all of the new videos that we're dropping every single week. But until next time, I'm Dave. Happy pressing.